just basketball. And if you're going to run your mouth, and let's be real, Angel Reese runs her mouth a lot about a lot of different things. Well, the media has twisted it. You've done a very, very fine job of saying some very unprofessional things. Nobody's had to twist your words. Let's not get confused. Take responsibility. You know? Let's just, my God. Take responsibility for the things that you say and your actions.
Look, someone just dropped a bombshell, right? They said Angel Reese isn't an athlete. She's a sex symbol. And wow, did that hit hard across sports media? People are furious. It's not just a spicy take either. It's a brutal declaration that her real calling isn't basketball at all. This claim suggests her entire WNBA career is just a stepping stone, a promotional tool for a totally different kind of fame. When one big voice looked at her recent runway walk, it wasn't praise. Instead, it was this raw judgment that her actual passion is being an OnlyFans model, using her looks to get famous. This shocking assessment just rips away any pretense. It claims basketball is simply a means to an end, and that end is becoming basketball Barbie, soon to be OnlyFans Barbie. It's definitely a statement designed to stir things up, to totally redefine, and to shatter how people see her athletic ambition. Plus, it's igniting a huge debate about her professionalism and intentions in the most scandalous way possible.
Let's start with Angel Reese walking the runway at a Victoria's Secret model showcase fashion show. Angel Reese has finally found her calling. Let's play the clip. Look at Angel. Look at Angel. There's no hate here from me. That is the best version of Angel Reese I think we've ever seen. Now, that's not saying a whole lot because normally Angel Reese is running her mouth or
the catalyst. So, what sparked all this crazy talk? It was Angel Reese's strut down the runway at a Victoria's Secret fashion show. That event totally blew up, went viral, and got massive attention. For a lot of folks, it was this glamorous moment, a celebrity just expanding her brand beyond the court. But here's the thing, for some really outspoken critics, it was the definitive proof of Angel Reese's true priorities. One commentator, who's usually pretty harsh on Reese, actually said, "That is the best version of Angel Reese I think we've ever seen." But that initial praise quickly twisted into a really sharp critique. It wasn't about her basketball skills or her leadership. It was all about her performance in a completely different arena. It really highlighted this huge contrast with her usual public persona. The underlying message was clear. This runway walk was a more authentic display of what she really wants than anything she's ever done on the hardwood. It totally set the stage for an explosive reevaluation of her whole career and sparked a ton of questions about what she truly wants to achieve in the public eye.
The things that you say and your actions. It is what it is, you know? Get up there in front of, you drowned your own teammates in a media interview and then acted like it was the media's fault that it came out. What did you think was going to happen? Of course. It's ridiculous. Angel Reese doesn't hold back on really scary relationship with media. I mean, Lord knows, I don't like the media at all. One of the reasons black and white sports exist is...
And get this, the argument goes even deeper into this provocative claim. They're saying Angel Reese, who is, no doubt, an attractive 6'3" woman, especially with the right makeup and her naturally strong physique, is actively trying to use her physical appearance as her main asset. The commentator just dismissed any idea of intellectual integrity or brilliance for her. They straight up categorized her as someone who just wants to be a sex symbol. This isn't just a casual observation either, it's framed as her fundamental drive. The whole narrative aggressively positions her as basketball Barbie, like a transitional figure who they say will soon shed her athletic look to become OnlyFans Barbie once she's squeezed all the promotional juice out of basketball. This isn't just speculation about her future, it's presented like an inevitable destiny a calculated move by Reese to use her athletic fame as a launchpad into a world where her sexuality, not her athleticism, becomes her main thing and how she makes money. This reinterpretation completely reshapes how everyone talks about her brand.
She has found her calling. She is an OnlyFans model, and this is a step towards being an OnlyFans model. Angel Reese is basketball Barbie, and soon she'll be OnlyFans Barbie once she gets done using basketball to promote her real passion. She wants to be a sex symbol, and she wants to pretend like she has some intellectual integrity, some intellectual brilliance. She doesn't. Angel Reese is a attractive 6'3".
But it didn't stop at Angel Reese. This controversial critique then blew up into a much more incendiary attack against the entire WNBA, which just drew gasps from all over the sports world. The commentator really brazenly contrasted Reese's runway suitability with most other girls in the league, claiming they couldn't walk a Victoria's Secret runway. What's more, the criticism went even further, painting a picture of many WNBA athletes as tatted up, wearing weaves, unattractive, and angry. This astonishingly harsh assessment argued that their beauty is diminished or limited because they're just so full of anger, bitterness, and hostility. It's a statement that didn't just judge their physical appearance, it also delved into their perceived emotional state, basically saying a lack of attractiveness comes from internal frustrations. This sweeping condemnation of the league's athletes sparked an immediate backlash, showing off a deeply controversial viewpoint on women's professional sports and creating a fiery debate about what really makes a role model and how female athletes are seen beyond just their skills.
But I can't remember a controversial thing that has ever come out about Angel Reese that turned out to be a lie that I can think of. It's hilarious. And on top of it, you've got a league that greatly still needs to grow. Now, I keep getting told that she's this massive superstar. Don't you think you should be available to talk? As a way to grow the game? And the popularity of the game? That's my...
Now, on top of all that, Angel Reese's actual athletic prowess came under intense scrutiny. And the verdict was damning. She's simply not some elite athlete. This wasn't just casual talk. It was a direct challenge to her widely perceived status, especially after all her college success. The critique pointed out specific problems on the court, like her tendency to miss layups and playing what they called a bad brand of basketball, which basically undermined any claim she had to being top-tier talent. Her past glory as an All-American in college was just quickly brushed aside with a dismissive "so what?" The implication was that college awards don't really mean elite professional capability. This harsh judgment suggests her public image as a massive superstar is totally undeserved, rooted more in viral moments and off-court stuff than in consistent, high-level basketball performance. It's a deliberate attempt to really deflate her athletic reputation, arguing that all the hype around her vastly overshadows her actual skills on the court and challenging the very foundation of her sports celebrity.
Okay. They can't walk the runway at a Victoria's Secret. They can't. Forget that standard. Most of them, they're tatted up, they're wearing weaves, they're unattractive, and they're angry. And because attractiveness comes from the inside, it comes from the spirit inside of you. And they've been so submerged in anger and bitterness and hostility that they've denied or limited their beauty. But trust me when I say this, and everybody knows, this is what Angel Reese really wants.
And get this, the criticism of Angel Reese's athleticism was actually part of an even larger, sweeping condemnation of many female basketball players, presented as this harsh truth about the sport itself. The commentator called them frustrated, overly masculine, want-to-be men who play a very boring style of basketball. This deeply provocative and gender-charged assessments suggested that a big chunk of female athletes don't have a genuine passion for the game. Instead, they pursue it because of circumstance. The argument was that these players often fall into basketball because they hit the genetic lottery, they're tall and athletic, so they might as well use it. This just reduces all their dedication and hard work to simply a byproduct of physical gifts, completely devoid of true love for the sport. It's a narrative that paints a really cynical picture of professional women's basketball, portraying its athletes as unfulfilled individuals driven by outside factors rather than true internal motivation, sparking a fierce debate about the perception and respect women in sports actually get.
Still needs to grow. Now, I keep getting told that she's this massive superstar. Don't you think you should be available to talk? As a way to grow the game? And the popularity of the game? That's my opinion. Angel Reese opened up about her contentious relationship with the media during an episode of her Unapologetically Angel podcast, saying she'd rather get fined than talk with reporters because answers end up getting twisted. No, slow down.
Meanwhile, amidst all these scathing personal and professional critiques, Angel Reese's often tense relationship with the media popped up again as a major talking point. She famously declared on her Unapologetically Angel podcast that she'd rather get fined than talk to reporters, claiming her answers always end up getting twisted. She actually expressed genuine fear, saying, "I'm terrified of what the media is about to act like. It could be the nicest question, but it's going to get flipped or put into a different light or a different perspective." This public admission of apprehension really shows a deep distrust, where every interaction is seen as a potential trap, turning even seemingly harmless questions into fodder for controversy. This sentiment highlights a big disconnect between athletes and the press, creating a barrier to real communication and raising questions about the mental toll all this media scrutiny takes on prominent figures, especially in high-stakes pro-sports environments.
She has very little interest in basketball. What Angel Reese wants to do is use basketball to promote herself as a sex symbol. And you know what? I think it's going to work. I think this thing with Victoria's Secrets, Angel Reese will start appearing in movies, potentially end up in TV shows, but she is never going to be an elite basketball player. And I understand that's like mind-blowing opinion. Oh, Whitlock's just saying things he doesn't believe. She was an All-American in college. So what?
But here's the thing, this stance on media interaction immediately ran into a direct contradiction with what professional athletes are fundamentally obligated to do. It was pointed out that media availability is a contractual requirement for WNBA players, just like it is in most major sports. Think about Marshawn Lynch's famous "I'm just here so I don't get fined" press conferences that really highlights this mandatory aspect, showing that athletes have to engage whether they like it or not. The criticism against Reese only intensified as commentators argued that while she complains about her words being twisted, she frequently runs her mouth a lot about a lot of different things, often saying really unprofessional stuff. The counter-argument is that nobody's had to twist your words because her controversial statements often speak for themselves, leaving very little room for misinterpretation. This creates a compelling narrative of an athlete trying to control a story that she herself often fuels, highlighting a really complex tension between personal expression and professional responsibility.
About her contentious relationship with the media during an episode of her Unapologetically Angel podcast, saying she'd rather get fined than talk with reporters because answers end up getting twisted. No, slow down and think about what you're saying before it regurgitates out of your mouth. Here we go.
Even before the game, like, I'm terrified of what the media is about to ask. Like, it could be the nicest question, but it's going to get flipped or put into a different light or a different perspective. And it's like, are you here intentionally to start?
Plus, there was this one big incident that really fueled the idea of Angel Reese's media hypocrisy. She openly criticized her own teammates during an interview, only to then blame the media when those comments actually came out. The commentator expressed utter disbelief, stating, "You drown your own teammates in a media interview," and then acted like it was the media's fault that it came out. What did you think was going to happen? This moment really highlighted a perceived lack of accountability, where Reese allegedly created her own controversy with direct statements, then deflected responsibility onto the outlets that simply reported them. It showed a big disconnect in her understanding of how media works and the consequences of public remarks. This specific event became a prime example of the argument that Reese's words aren't being twisted, but simply reported as spoken, forcing her to confront the repercussions of her own unfiltered communication and adding another layer to the complex relationship between athletes and the ever-watchful press.
So what? A lot of these female basketball players, overall, even some of the ones that are considered, they're not elite. They're frustrated, overly masculine, wannabe men, play a very boring style of basketball, and most of them, just like many athletes in professional football, whatever, they're doing this because, hey, I'm good at it. I'm tall. I hit the genetics lottery, and I got this height and athleticism, and so I might as well use it. But Angel Reese is letting you know this is what I really want to do.
What's crazy is, all this ongoing tension around Angel Reese's media engagements also sparked a serious look at her status as a supposed massive superstar. Commentators questioned how someone could claim such a title while at the same time shying away from essential media duties. The argument was made that genuine superstars actually have an obligation to be accessible, to talk to the press, and to actively participate as a way to grow the game and make it more popular. By deliberately avoiding interviews and public appearances, even threatening fines, Reese's actions were seen as counterproductive to the very growth that she, as a prominent figure, should be contributing to. This isn't just about personal preference, it's framed as a professional responsibility tied directly to the visibility and success of the league itself. The criticism suggests that her reluctance to engage undermines her potential impact as a game changer, casting doubt on how sustainable her star power can be if she continues to isolate herself from vital public interaction.
It always gets flipped. And I think that's where media has gotten these days. Like, you could literally post "the sky was blue" and Angel said that is too dark. That's like stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it just, for me, like, the media is like really scary. Like, that's why I've never been on anybody else's podcast. I'm scared to do stuff like that because I know how things could get flipped.
That's crappy too. You got a podcast, you want guests, but you won't return the favor? I don't love that either, to be honest. Nothing's getting flipped and twisted. Oh, but
on top of that, adding another layer of perceived hypocrisy to Angel Reese's media struggles is the fact that she has her own platform, the Unapologetically Angel podcast. Critics quickly pointed out the irony, right? She uses her own podcast to complain about media twisting words, yet she's reportedly scared to do that kind of thing for others and won't return the favor by appearing on other podcasts or interviews. This stark contrast, where she wants others to want gas, meaning she wants them to provide content for her platform or engage with her, while she refuses to do the same for others, was called crappy. This double standard fuels the argument that her complaints are less about genuine fear of being misrepresented and more about simply controlling her own narrative entirely, even if it means sacrificing general media engagement. It really portrays her as someone who's willing to consume media exposure but unwilling to contribute to it in return, further alienating her from the broader journalistic world and reinforcing the idea of a self-serving media strategy.
I salute you. You finally found your lane. Next time we'll talk about you will probably be when you open your OnlyFans account. Troy Aikman versus Caleb Williams. Troy Aikman called the Monday Night Football game this weekend, and somehow social media, people in the Chicago Tribune, legitimate journalists, everybody has reached the conclusion that Troy Aikman spoke disparagingly of Caleb Williams and trolled him during the game. It was disrespectful and
defending. Listen though, some people stepped in to defend the media, drawing a clear distinction between actual reporting and maliciously twisting words, asserting that, in Reese's case, nothing's getting flipped and twisted at all. The speaker, who runs a sports commentary channel, even clarified his own process. He said he makes videos about things that are already reported on, often by other actual media, and he just covers it, then gives his opinion and commentary. He argued that Reese is essentially mad because the stuff she said about her teammates came out in an interview she gave. Furthermore, he highlighted that her fans have attacked the people who did the interview, even though nobody flipped nothing around or twisted nothing. This defense suggests the controversy often stems directly from Reese's own statements, accurately relayed by reporters rather than being made up or distorted by a hostile press, placing the responsibility squarely back on the athlete's own words and actions.
Got a podcast, you want guests, but you won't return the favor? I don't love that either, to be honest. Nothing's getting flipped and twisted. Oh, but Rhodes, you've said things. I ain't said a damn thing that wasn't absolutely reported. I make videos on things that are already reported on, in a lot of cases by somebody else in the actual media. And all I'm doing is covering it and then giving you my opinion and my commentary on it.
And it's not just new stuff, either. The controversy around Angel Reese's media interactions actually has deeper roots, with specific mentions of all the drama with the Indiana Fever last year. The league even ended up having to do an investigation because, supposedly, the fan base was racist. This past incident became a crucial point of contention, especially because of Reese's perceived inaction. The commentator argued that all she had to do was call a mini press conference with 4 or 5 media members and say, "I did not hear anything racist come out from the Indiana Fever fan base." Yet, she just didn't do it. This omission is framed as a significant failure, suggesting that Reese missed a critical chance to calm down a potentially divisive situation, to clarify her position, and to show some leadership. Her silence, or refusal to directly address that specific accusation, only allowed the drama to fester, further complicating her relationship with the media and raising questions about her willingness to engage on sensitive topics.
Troy waited enough and left, and Caleb says that, I tried to call him afterwards, but, he didn't answer, didn't get a hold of him. And so everybody's put 2 and 2 together. Oh, Caleb Williams stiffed Troy Aikman, and that's why Troy Aikman was so brutal on Caleb Williams during that game. I want to start by playing Caleb Williams at the press conference yesterday with his kind of disjointed unpacking of what allegedly transpired between he and Troy Aikman. Play the clip.
Look, at the end of the day, the expectation for professional athletes, no matter if they're male or female, goes beyond just playing the game. It includes this crucial element of public engagement. The prevailing sentiment among critics is that a true professional should have the guts to answer questions, even ones that aren't strictly about basketball. The argument emphasizes that athletes are public figures, and because of that, they have to be ready to handle a wide range of inquiries with poise and maturity. It's suggested that if a question isn't directly basketball related, a professional could calmly state, "That's not a basketball question. Next question," and just keep going until appropriate questions are asked, instead of just completely avoiding the media. This standard is applied universally. The commentator asserted he would say the same thing about all athletes, no matter their gender, stressing that professionalism demands a certain level of media savviness and a willingness to face the public, no matter the topic.
Yeah, and what to do and what not to do. Oh, I'm gonna go out there 3/4 naked, but don't want nobody actually to talk about it. I want all these places to cover it. Me walking down, all this stuff. I once played the victim, and then I went out on Victor. But I guarantee you ask her, nobody should be talking about that. Really? You got to be joking, right? You got to be joking. I didn't hit my camera. Look at that.
So, what's the solution here? Given all the mounting pressure and repeated missteps in her media interactions, a clear recommendation emerged. Angel Reese desperately needs media prep courses and a dedicated PR squad. The commentator really emphasized that she needs someone who can teach her how to deal with the media, and what to do and what not to do. This isn't just about making her public perception better, it's about giving her the fundamental skills to navigate the super complex world of sports journalism, to articulate her thoughts effectively, and to avoid these self-inflicted controversies. The implication is that her current approach is just amateurish and totally detrimental to her career, making professional guidance an absolute necessity. Without proper training, she risks continued clashes, negative headlines, and a public image defined by defensiveness rather than genuine engagement, signaling a critical need for strategic communication management to really salvage her reputation.
Yeah, Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams respond to Aikman's criticism. And then I would go read the story, and they would never tell me what Aikman's criticism was. And that made me say, well, what are they hiding here? So I rewatched the football game. That's what kind of a nut job I am. Troy Aikman did not criticize Caleb Williams. I rewatched the game late last night and intentionally looking for what did Troy Aikman say out of bounds. And it comes down to Troy Aikman on one of their touchdown passes to the DeAndre Swift.
What's crazy is that critics also pointed to another big example of perceived hypocrisy. Angel Reese is totally willing to go out there, 3/4 naked, and actively seek media coverage for her fashion choices and personal brand. Yet at the same time, she expresses disdain for media questions about her basketball career or controversial statements. The commentator directly challenged this contradiction, asking, "I want all these places to cover it, me walking down, all this stuff. I once played the victim, and then I went out on Big Talk. But I guarantee you, ask her, nobody should be talking about that."
You gotta be joking, right?
This really highlights what looks like a calculated strategy to control her own narrative. She's embracing attention for certain aspects of her life, while vehemently rejecting scrutiny for others. It paints a picture of an athlete who wants fame on her own terms, unwilling to accept the full scope of public interest that comes with being a high-profile celebrity, leading to accusations of selective engagement and playing the victim when it suits her. And get this, the recurring theme of contractual obligations for media availability was continually brought back into sharp focus. It acts as an undeniable counterpoint to Angel Reese's public reluctance. They stress that her contract explicitly mandates some kind of availability, solidifying that professional requirement, while acknowledging that the media ain't worth a damn in general terms, implying a shared frustration with journalistic practices. A crucial distinction was made. If reporters are simply writing articles and they're saying things about things you've actually said, then that's not the media's fault actually. This pointed out the undeniable reality that athletes are accountable for their own words, and that reporting those words, even if controversial, is a fundamental function of journalism. It was a rare moment where a critic actually defended the media against the athlete, emphasizing personal responsibility over blanket blame and reinforcing the contractual expectations of professional conduct. But the saga of athlete media tension isn't just isolated to Angel Reese. It echoes in other high-profile incidents, like the recent controversy involving Caleb Williams and NFL analyst Troy Aikman. Williams, a highly touted quarterback, reportedly stiffed Aikman for a pre-game interview, even though Aikman was waiting for him. Social media and even legitimate journalists at the Chicago Tribune quickly jumped on the perceived disrespect, linking it to Aikman's subsequent broadcast commentary. Williams' disjointed explanation, claiming conflicting schedules and a failed post-incident call, did little to calm the skepticism. This situation really underscores the mutual obligations in professional sports. The media needs access for quality broadcasts, and athletes are expected to provide it. The incident quickly became another flashpoint in the ongoing debate about athlete professionalism, media access, and the narrative that's created when these two worlds collide, regardless of the sport or gender of those involved, highlighting this systemic friction. What's more, the Caleb Williams incident further revealed the dangers of media speculation and the tendency to twist narratives, even when the facts are scarce. After observing the widespread criticism of Troy Aikman's alleged brutal commentary on Williams, a commentator actually took the extraordinary step of rewatching the football game, intensely looking for what did Troy Aikman say out of. The things were really revealing. Aikman did not criticize Caleb Williams. The entire controversy actually stemmed from Aikman's observation about a touchdown play where the Bears got lucky because two defensive backs unintentionally scissored to collide into each other. This factual analysis of a play was somehow spun into some kind of great criticism. This instance highlighted how easily a harmless comment can be misinterpreted or deliberately exaggerated by an eager media landscape and sensitive fan base, underscoring the challenge athletes face when even objective observations are weaponized, and how quickly public opinion can form based on incomplete or sensationalized information. Ultimately, all these narratives, the ones surrounding Angel Reese, and even parallel controversies like the Caleb Williams incident, they all converge on one central theme: the complex, often volatile intersection of athletic prowess, personal branding, media responsibility, and the unforgiving gaze of the public eye. What emerges is a picture where athletes are simultaneously expected to be accessible, charismatic, and perfectly articulate, while also maintaining an unwavering focus on their sport. Yet, many really struggle to navigate this tightrope, leading to accusations of hypocrisy, a lack of professionalism, or an embrace of celebrity over sport. The real challenge for these stars and for the leagues they represent is to find a balance where authenticity can coexist with obligation, and where personal aspirations are understood within the broader context of their professional roles, rather than constantly creating friction. The no-holds-barred truth often reveals not just individual actions, but systemic pressures shaping the very future of sports stardom.